Of the HollyShorts Film Festival. It is their 19th annual festival, and they are Oscar qualifying, so that's some fun stuff. We're up at the VIP lounge that you didn't know existed until we started shooting here, so I'm happy to bring that into your life. I'm also happy to bring into your life two incredible filmmakers. We have Julie Balefsky,
yes,
great, and Madeline Mack.
Yes.
My middle name is Mackenzie, so I feel a little related to you, and you also have a bit of red hair, so there's some sister energy.
Some family.
Julie is the producer, writer, and actor from How to Catfish Your Ex, and Madeline is the director and co-writer. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Haley, why don't you start us off?
Let's start. This title is
fun.
It's giving, as they say. I'm very excited about it because I would love to catfish a number of my exes. Can you give us a logline?
Yeah, so a girl is going through a terrible breakup, and there is the urge to find out what her ex is up to. And the best way she can think of is maybe sending a friend that he doesn't know on a date with him, figure out if he's moved on yet.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of wanted to redefine the trope of the crazy girl and just show where those impulses come from and make it relatable.
Thank you for understanding me, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, this is the character's name, Julie, so it's not
I love it.
far from me.
Yeah.
I didn't do this, but I thought about it immensely.
I've done something very similar, so I get it. That's awesome. And so how did you guys come together for this? Did you know each other before? Was there an interview process?
Yeah. Well, so we were both, I was the assistant to the director and Julie was the assistant to the producer on a Netflix show.
Okay.
That shot in New York.
Great.
And it was cold, it was the winter, you have to trauma bond, and so Julie and I used to sort of bitch about everyone, behind the in the back alley, while I smoke cigarettes.
Yeah,
and
bonding
she watched.
over that
Yeah.
is always the easiest thing. Yeah, yeah, I love that.
But the reason why we came together for the film is because I just think Julie's amazing, and she has this wonderful sort of self-awareness and sort of shamelessness, and sort of she's someone that so embodies in a hilarious, entertaining way her shadow sides, and is open about them, and I just really admire those qualities in women. And when she told me this story, which was we bonded really quickly, and I sort of got all of the dirty really early on.
Great.
And I realized that all of my friends, almost everyone I know is gone through the same thing and felt terrible about themselves, or felt like they were unhinged, or they were whatever. But the reality is almost every person I know has been there, and so it's okay, well, let's look at that. If that's the norm, let's embrace that as the norm and explore it, instead of sort of acting like no one is in the same boat,
Yeah, absolutely. Feeling connected to not only yourselves but your audience through film is kind of the best thing you can do in this medium, I think.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this improv you did on set, because I have here as a note, we asked our filmmakers, because they were such short interviews they were coming in for, I wanted to get into it. Is there anything unique about the film's production? And you guys wrote down, we used 2 cameras to allow for improv on set.
Yeah.
Decision making around that, how the flow worked with your DP, how was coverage? Let's get into it.
Yeah. Well, it was low budget filmmaking, so we had to use 2 cameras for multiple reasons. One of the scene takes place in golden hour sunset on a bridge, and so using 2 cameras was a necessity for just getting coverage in that time frame.
And the drawbridge went up while we were filming, so we had even less time.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was we shot that amazing scene in 2 takes. I feel it might maybe even 1 or 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, I love 2 cameras anyway, because improv has always been a really big part of my process. The first time I was on set observing a director, it was comedy, and there is so much, you have the writer there, you're rewriting it, you're able to collaborate, and Julie is so quick on her feet and able to adjust and doesn't get, stuck on the vision. So we were able to really have a back and forth on that collaboration, and improv is just, especially when you're I don't know, it's just it to me, it opens things up, it makes things looser, and then you can see the story that wants to come through instead of the story that you kind of like had locked down.
Right.
But we did like a lot of improv sessions in the writing phase as well, so I like to do this thing where it's like, let's find the edges of the script, let's like make the stakes higher or lower, or change the motivation, and see like what you're actually dealing with, and so that you can see where the strengths are and where the weaknesses are. And then that happens in the writing process a lot, and then on set less so, actually, because we've usually like found ourselves at that point. But then if you have like a little joke here or a little moment, you can run with it.
Cool.
Yeah, and Peter, who plays my ex-boyfriend, he is a very close friend of mine, and so we went to acting school together.
Wow.
So it was like really easy to find that relationship off the bat, because we had the same training, we were like used to each other, we knew it was up.
Yeah, one of the biggest things we do at cinematography for actors is bridge the gap between talent and crew. And we say that the way that we do that is through finding a common language on set, and that's how we can all work better together. And so I love that you mentioned that about working with Peter, is because you're like, yeah, we have the same training, and it's kind of the same principles and values of our company, because it's like, yeah, how do we tell the best stories are told when you're telling the same story, and you're all on the same page. And so I love that you were able to find that with someone that you had to work in your every scene with, probably, or most of your scenes, in How to Catfish Your Ex. Yeah, which is fun.
Having those directions. I am very curious. When you're saying that you're working with 2 cameras to allow for improv, are you cross-shooting? Like, what are your setups like so that everything's rolling at the same time, correct?
Well, so when I always, as a director, I'm finding this balance between, I want to have cinematic moments, and I want to have these moments that are, maybe the actor has to be right here next to the camera looking into the lens and not actually looking at the actor, or that, I had those shots where the camera's like spinning and Julie's like having to like awkwardly like find a natural way to do something that's completely unnatural.
Right.
So I like to go, okay, let's find a balance where we can create an open space where the actors can like play and feel natural and find themselves and have room to move, and then let's also pick our moments to have those cinematic moments, so it's not all or nothing. And so like very much there was moments that it's single camera and the very highly composed shots, a lot of transitions and things like that, and then for like the deep, more emotional scenes, then it's like we're doing two cameras, so that we're doing, in this we actually didn't do like wide, mediums, closes or anything. We really just did mid shots, and then we pick off sections. So like rather than running the entire scene, like if I have like a really specific direction for a line, instead of running the whole scene to get that, we'll like jump into that moment and make adjustments and make camera adjustments too, because it just allows for more freedom, and I just think no one can remember that many notes for a whole scene,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got something to say about that?
No. I was just thinking about the process and how it like felt like so much pressure to get what we needed in such a short amount of time, and it was just crazy. Like I felt so proud of us for the work that we did up front to figure out exactly what we would need, so that we didn't have any excess. Every moment was used, I felt, efficiently.
And developing trust, like, this is really Julie's baby. I feel honored that I was able to work on it, and I feel honored that she valued my collaboration enough to let me in. But, it's this balance too of like, wanting you to, like figuring out, is the actor going to watch all the takes? Are they going to approve it? Like, where is that? Like, where is that like approval process?
I gave her total control, because I was like, I'm not a director. Like, this is my story, but like, I wanted her eye.
And that's the best
This
collaboration.
sort of trust is so important.
Yeah, exactly.
We love when we see that, when a team isn't like, doesn't have to be over each other's shoulders all the time. When you can find people to work with who you trust will take it when they need to.
But that
It's
like
very
requires
beautiful.
prep to
Yeah.
have that trust, So it's like we can we can listen back to the takes and the rehearsals if we record them, versus like, and like think about what worked and what didn't, and like get on the same page then. So instead of it like happening on set, which is like high pressure, I mean, we really moved so quickly, there was like no time to even
And we
breathe.
should call out Ali Braccato. Alyssa Braccato is our cinematographer, and she's just fantastic. Like, she's a really good collaborator in so many ways, and she's just so intuitive about like every aspect of filmmaking that it felt I always defer to her completely on anything camera related, just because like I trust her overall vision so much.
Incredible.
She's very focused on. She's really performance story actor focused.
Great.
You know, like even in the
She
edit
got
notes.
teary-eyed behind the camera.
Yeah.
I love those moments
Beautiful.
on
Wow.
set. Yeah. As a DP, I'm like, I know those moments.
I do that.
Yeah.
Because you get in your own head and you're like, okay, we've done this, what's next? And if you have two cameras, sometimes you're like, well, if I'm not using it, I could leapfrog to the next thing. And so, but then it's those moments when you're like, oh, this is why I signed on to this project, and this is the story we're telling, is like when you're as an audience, as a DP, suddenly an audience member, that's when you know you're on the same page telling that story. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
What was it like in the co-writing process? Because I know, Julie, this is probably your baby, like Madeline was saying. So what was it like to jump in and become a co-writer, and where did you not want to sacrifice things, and what changes did you have to make?
It's so interesting because I value, you know, obviously I feel strongly that I have good instincts, and that's why I pursue this. But it's always interesting of like, it's really important to really understand what she wanted or what she was going for, because I can give notes, I can change it to be whatever it is, but it's like at the heart of it we need to really figure out like what is it that we're trying to say, what is the gift, what is that we're trying to give the audience. And so it was like, it was a lot of talking things through,
Yeah.
and then at a certain point it's also like, trust me. And I think I just like, we had the script, and we do this with like emails too. She just like hands me the script, and I just like chopped a bunch of things, added a bunch of things, don't even explain it, don't even necessarily justify it, and then you read it and it's like, is it better? And you just keep going back and forth until it's better. I don't know. I mean, I don't remember. It's like also like
Yeah.
It's a blur. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the improv really helped. We had like rehearsal beforehand, and we were figuring out, okay, like what's the most efficient way to do this scene that we get all the information in the quickest time.
And like, you know, we made a lot of changes throughout the process. Like we changed the script, we changed the whole story like in the edit a number of times, and like I will say
I was healing from the breakup in real time while we were
Oh my gosh.
while we were doing this. So it was like almost like as I was figuring out how I felt about things,
Yeah.
we were adding it to the script. It was like almost, it was a little bit therapy. I mean,
I mean, cathartic. Yeah.
yeah, it was really cathartic. Like I was like, oh, I actually realized this about myself. We're adding it to the script.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
And I think like it was nice to do that as a collaboration, because I think what motivates so many people to make films is they want to get something out, they want to express something. And so if you're able to express something but then also have a collaborator to say, okay, so that's what you're getting out of it. It's like, you know, I've done it too, but it's like an indulgence, right? You're indulging in your pain. But then if you can trust someone enough to be in that process with you, you can then pick apart like, okay, let's explore that pain that's like really real, true, but then also like, let's make it for audiences as well as for us expressing ourselves, you know?
Of course.
That's so exciting. We have to wrap things up, unfortunately. I wish we could keep going. Today at 2:30 p.m., you are screening this film, How to Catfish Your Ex. We're really excited to watch it. We're not going to be able to catch it today, but I know we can catch it later, because in addition to the in-person festival in Hollywood, you are also going to be able to catch all of these incredible films we were talking about on BitPix, the virtual fest I can't pronounce this word, but let's try it again. Accompanying. Literally every time.
Accompanying.
This festival. So thank you, Madeline and Julie, for joining us, and we can't wait to watch it. Thanks,
wait.
everyone. See you next
Thank
time.
you.
Bye.
This has been another special episode of the Cinematography for Actors podcast. We are here live at the 19th annual Oscar qualifying HollyShorts Film Festival through August 20th. Follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts, and if you are here at the festival, come up to the VIP lounge and say hi.
We also want to give a huge thank you and shout out to our sponsors, which we have so many to help us put this together, and that is Apogee Film Tools, Roscoe, Lightstone Rentals, Canon, and First Mile Technology for the awesome Wi-Fi hookup. As a special gift to our CFA listeners, we have partnered with a company called We Make Movies, you may be familiar with them, to offer discounted production services, including access to comprehensive production insurance and workers' comp for your next shoot. Visit wemakemovies.org/insurance and use code CFA23 on your next intake form for 10% off your quote. We are making filmmaking more accessible. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time on the Cinematography for Actors podcast. Thanks all. Bye.